Ultra-fast 5G portable wideband sounds breathtaking, but down there's a main disadvantage, will requirement to buy new phones. Will the additional charge be cost it, and while will we be capable to buy a? To gain of ultra-fast portable, due for start above the following pair of year, will all requirement to buy new phones. And as we aware in all new technologies, the at first model win T go inexpensive. The following general of phones will requirement a lot more than facility aerial, a entire new chipset or marrow, and a way of operating the additional power richer 5G services will devour up. Lot of the basis mechanical engineering is allowed, says Scott Miner, Vodafone UK's head technique official. Now engineering personnel are work on miniaturization and how to scope up manufacture to hold expenses downward, he says. But in 5G compatible phones potential to begin marketing of about $600 to $700, $458 to £534, on to David McQueen of ABI study, Samsung, POM and Huawei prices will be lot high, he says. Will we worry to plug out the additional cash money? That depends on how amazed we are in the new general of services, says Mr. Miner. We believe 5G will boot off else wavelength of innovate how we refuge T seen in the recent 3 or 4 persons year, he says, thing related to the change of clumsy natural keypad-based model to such in top-definition touch screens. This smartphone will be operating as a communicating hub for wearables, he predicts, in virtual fact, VR, and extended fact, AR, use largest of the more rapid flowing speeds and reduce waiting time, latency. This should bring the sense of sickness lot human beings sense testing VR on slower phones, he says. But time phone makers are raced to be at first to marketplace, they as well don't wish to start 5G handsets up the new networks include been rolling out, a error they done in 4G lot to consumer irritation. US portable manufacturer Motorola is upcoming out in a 5G append-on for its module Moto Z3 smartphone in previous 2019. We requested to be at first to marketplace, and we requested to find out a slight on 5G frequencies, says Ark Misha, Motorola's CEO of manufacture operative in Polar America. The problem, he says, has de-energized our mechanical engineering basis there at Motorola. But the 5G unit is slightly greater rather than the smartphone himself, habitation of 5G only modem, several antennae and additional cell power to force them, says Ian Cutris, who writes for Equipment Overview website and on Tech. And it will be accessible just to customers of the Verizon web in the US, he adds. My wonder for the at first smartphone start, following the Motorola append-on, would be of each OnePlus or Sony, says ABI Studies Mr. McQueen. And the greatest vendors will get longest, he says. Samsung, he suspects, will start its at first 5G smartphone about August 2019 in its mention episode, and China producer Huawei once in medium 2019, perhaps in its companion quite rather than P episode. To POM we foresee it will perhaps get else 2 generations, so perhaps 2021 before 5G is seen in any of its iPhone devices, he says. The investigator forecasts 5G smartphone turnover will achieve 15.8 millionth in 2019, growing to 77.5 millionth in 2020. Time subscriptions will footlights up rapidly of 2020, achieving above 200 millionth by 2022. But down there's a capacity fly in the salve. Down there will be 2 various frequencies, depending on position. Largest of us will perhaps be proposed services at submarine 6 GHz, GHz, to begin in, as portable operators just increase their current 4G networks. But down there will as well be more than costly top frequency millimeter wavelength, millimeter wave, services intended for tightly inhabited areas. Every one is substantially a new technique in its own order, says Mr. Cutris. Or the planet will be break in regions wherever millimeter wave is the technique, and regions wherever submarine 6 GHz is the technique, he says. So you may not ever be capable to use yours flare new smartphone's 5G powers while you journey. The at first 5G smartphones are potential to include 2 modems, a independent 5G modem, and one how plant on 4G and older networks to drop behind on while 5G isn't accessible, says Mr. Cutris. In period, although, smartphones will perhaps include one modem how can selector among 3G, 4G and 5G while required. Ben Stanton, of marketplace study company Canalys, thinks 5G will not conduct to a length-term raise in prices and how by 2020 to 21 medium-range and cheap-end handsets will be 5G compatible. Consumer will begin off by with a mixture of 4G and 5G as communication coil out their new networks of special masts and antennae, says Mr. Stanton, so portable operators will requirement to include at low several 5G handsets accessible on the marketplace in advance. So will it be cost conducting though more than cash on yet else smartphone? The production will be hoping how technophile previous adopters shine a path and promote the benefits of new 5G services so how we all sense in force to leap on executive board. But down there's a lot to kind out up later.